Hey guys, Miss Gregory, Advanced Course, Chapter 3, Lesson 3, page 215 through 218, Subtracting Integers. You see the book you should be in. You can look at it online. You could look at the hardback copy that you have. Even if you don't have the book, you're still able to take the notes on your own paper. Just a reminder of the things you need. You are not writing in the hardback book. You need notebook paper or the spiral notebook that you're using. You need a pencil. You might want a pen or highlighter. That's up to you. The textbook would be great to have handy, and headphones to get started and stay quiet. Let's remember how you need to label your paper now that you're taking notes on your own notebook paper. So please label this is lesson 3.3 and the date, and subtract integers is the name of the lesson. Notice the little pencil icon I'm pointing to at the top. This pencil image tells you that is a clue you need to be writing what's on this page on your own paper. Okay, thanks. Alright, so you've labeled your paper. Add to the information. This part of our notes is on page 215. And this is the page you're doing on your own, kind of as a warm-up preview, and then we'll talk about it tomorrow in class. So, you want to look at the top of page 215 under the What I Will Learn. What's the focus? What will you be learning today? Write down sentences of what you'll be learning. Then go ahead and read and answer the questions 1 and 2, under the Real World link. Okay, this would be the part where you pause, read and answer questions on page 215. Then when you're done, come back and go to the next slide in the video. Okay, moving on to page 216, so at the top of your paper or wherever you are in taking your notes, mark that this information is on page 216. Notice you've got the little pencil icon reminding you to write this information down that I have in red. Okay, they have some information in the key concept area telling you to subtract integers, how you would say that in words, with symbols, and of course they have some examples for you. But the main thing that you need to know, subtracting integers, you can't do it. You really, another way to say what you're changing it to is you need to add the opposite. Or you could say KCC, which means to keep, change, change. Keep the first number, change from subtraction to addition, and then change the sign of the second number to the opposite sign. So, for example, looking at the larger problem in the book that's in color, you have 6 minus 7. But before you can find that answer, you really need to rewrite it and add the opposite. So you're going to change 6 minus 7 to 6 plus, and then the positive 7, you changed the opposite sign to make it a negative 7. So now your problem, as you can see, is 6 plus negative 7. When they have different signs, you subtract, and since negative 7 has the greater absolute value, your final answer would keep the negative sign. That's how they got the answer of negative 1. Okay, moving on. I want you to take the notes as you see them here. So pause if you need to on this page. These are examples still from page 216. It's example 1 and example 2, but I want you to write these out so you have something to look at before you try the Got It's A, B, and C on your own. Alright, I'll kind of explain what we're doing here. So example 1 is 8 minus 13. And above those numbers I wrote KCC. For keep, change, change. So I'm going to keep the number 8. I change the sign from subtraction to addition. And I change the positive 13 to a negative 13. So now my problem is an addition problem. I'm going back to following my LADS rules, and these are different signs subtract. So 13 minus 8 would be 5. Is it going to be a positive 5 or a negative 5? Well, negative 13 is further from 0, so negative 5 would be the answer. Example 2, again, I wrote KCC at the top, and you probably need to use that strategy at least to start off with, and maybe you need to continue with it just to make sure you get these problems correct. Just like we did when we were dividing with fractions and we said you really needed to multiply by the reciprocal, and sometimes we called it keep, change, flip. Very similar. We can't subtract with integers. We need to change it to an addition problem, which is easy. You already know the addition rules. LADS, like signs add, different signs subtract. So we've got negative 10 minus 7. Change this over to negative 10 plus a negative 7. Now they're both negative, same sign, so add them up. Total answer negative 17. Now you need to try the got it's on your own. This is where you pause, show your work, do the steps, come back, check your answer. Pause here. Okay, you guys should be able to see the answers to the got it's now. A, B, and C, negative 6, negative 35, and negative 48. You can see I went ahead and wrote the KCC letters above each problem. I went through the steps of changing it to addition, changing it to the opposite sign, and then following my LADS rules, like signs add, different signs subtract. All of these ended up being negative numbers. Alright, so this is your notebook paper and we are going through examples. Please note that these examples are from page 217. These are straight from the book, but go ahead and write them on your notebook paper. Number 3, again, with the letters KCC, keep, change, change, to help you remember to make that switch. You can easily see how 1 minus negative 2 would have an answer of 3, and it would be positive 3, like signs add. Example number 4, again, KCC, keep, change, change is shown, and you have negative 10 plus change to a positive 7. They have different signs and you subtract. 10 minus 7 is 3, but 10 or negative 10 is further from 0. And you keep the sign with the greater absolute value. So the answer for number 4 would be negative 3. Okay, then the examples 3 and 4 have already been given, so now this is your turn, pointing to the got it's. You need to write the problem and show your answers for D, E, and F. So now would be the time to pause, work the 3 problems, use the KCC strategy if you need to, make sure your answers have the correct number and the correct sign, and then come back and check your work. Pause here. And you should be able to see the work for the got it's and the final answers. If you have questions on the got it's, remember to ask me tomorrow in class. Notice the stop and reflect sticky over here and see if you can answer that part of the question, another way to think about it. Okay, moving on to the next example. These are basically the same thing we've been talking about. You need to substitute and solve. So you're going to substitute the variable with the number that's given for x and y in example number 5. Then you see it's a subtraction problem and you need to keep, change, change. Add the opposite. So it's worked out the same way. Basically, the extra step is only doing the substitution. Make sure that you're substituting the correct number for the correct variable. That might be your only tiny mistake. So notice example 5 and example 6 are subtraction problems that can be done with keep, change, change. Once you've changed it to an addition problem, you're following your LADS rules, like signs add, different signs subtract. So after looking at examples 5 and 6, go ahead and try the got it's for G, H, and I. Pause the video now so you can try it on your own. Okay, hopefully you remembered when it says evaluate, it means to solve the problem. So again, you can see my work, wrote KCC above each problem. I changed, I substituted first. I went ahead and substituted the number for the correct variable, then made the subtraction problem into an addition problem by adding the opposite sign. So the answers check. Hopefully you got them correct and you're getting the hang of it. Okay, now, looking at, the example with the moon, okay? Before you try the got it on your own, it says the temperatures on the moon vary from negative 173 degrees Celsius to 127 degrees Celsius. Find the difference, which means you should be subtracting, between the maximum and minimum temperatures. Okay? So notice it's telling you subtract the lower temperature from the higher temperature. So you have 127, that's the greater absolute value, minus negative 173. Or actually not greatest absolute value, the positive number 127 is greater than the negative number 173. So 127 minus a negative 173. So when you are rewriting the problem, keep, change, change, you've got 127 plus 173. Now you're adding two positive numbers, nice and easy, answer of 300. The difference between the temperatures is 300 degrees Celsius. Now you try it on your own with a different problem. The got it is about a balance in an account. Pause, try it, come back and check. Okay, so you have Brenda with a balance of negative $52 in her account. The bank charges a fee of $10 for having a negative balance. So her new balance, well, she started out, she owed $52, then she's charged another $10, so now she owes a total of $62. And you can see the problem worked out again using the KCC strategy. All right, you guys now are going to do the guided practice. So I want you to look at the guided practice. You are going to do all problems 1 through 6. This is on your notebook paper. I'd like for you to start at the top of either a new piece of paper or start on the back, but at the top of the paper, so it's easy for me to come around, grade, and check tomorrow. But you do need to label it guided practice, page 218. Notice that's being pointed to at the bottom. You must write each of the problems 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and show your work. Okay? Also go ahead and look at question 6 and try to answer that as well. Label your paper, guided practice, the page number, write the problem, show your steps. When you're done, don't forget to rate yourself. Are you clear? Somewhat clear? Not so clear. We'll practice again tomorrow in class. And the end. Adios. See you tomorrow.